Hey guys, what's up? This is Brett. Welcome to this week's episode of Friday on the Turntable. As you can tell from the title of the video, I am talking about the band Depeche Mode and their 1987 album, Music for the Masses. So as usual, I'm going to show 5 other things that came out in 1987. We'll start things off with R.E.M. Document, their last album of their IRS years, before they went on to Warner Brothers and recorded the album Green. This had Finest Work Song, and of course, It's the End of the World as We Know It, the one I love. Yeah, R.E.M. Document, their 5th album. Dead Can Dance. I've been listening to a lot of 4AD. That's a record label. If you're unfamiliar, British record label. I've been listening to a lot of 4AD stuff this week, as I just got an advance copy of the 4AD Story. It's a book that's coming out in September, and I've been really enjoying reading that. So this was Within the Realm of a Dying Sun. Great album. If you don't know the band Dead Can Dance, be sure to check them out. I have a video on their album that came out last year called Anastasis. Further down, I featured it on Friday on the Turntable, so be sure to check that one out. A couple cassettes here I pulled out too, trying to mix it up with some stuff here. Some really obvious albums from '87. The Joshua Tree was one, and Jane's Addiction's first album. But I figured I'd show some other different ones. In Excess Kick, that was a huge album in '87 for sure. And how about Faith No More's Introduce Yourself? Consider their second album, but kind of more like a debut, because their first one I think had a really limited release. But you know, Annie's songs on this, Introduce Yourself, We Care a Lot. Yeah, Faith No More. And lastly, Jermaine Stewart. Is this called Say It Again? Yeah. Say It Again. I remember picking this up at Amoeba Records in Hollywood, 1987. Check out that picture there of Jermaine Stewart. It's really sad. He passed away several years ago. He was from Chicago, as I am, and he had a huge hit with We Don't Have to Take Our Clothes Off to Have a Good Time. And yeah, Jermaine Stewart. Check. Those pictures are just great. Love Jermaine Stewart. So I had to show that one. So 1987 was a nice lead-in for me to show some Jermaine Stewart. So Music for the Masses from Depeche Mode. It's September 28th, 1987. I almost said September 8th because that is my birthday. And this was Depeche Mode's 6th album. It came out about a year and a half after the previous one, which was Black Celebration. And this one was produced by David Bascombe, and he had worked with Peter Gabriel. I think he did this Peter Gabriel's So, which came out the year before. He also worked with the band James later on, Erasure, and Tears for Fears, just a ton of stuff. Now I'm showing Music for the Masses. Doesn't necessarily mean that it is my favorite Depeche Mode album. Now I plan on in the future doing a ranking video for Depeche Mode, but when it came down to it today, I kind of wanted, this time of the year is probably around the time that I first heard a song from this album. And yeah, living in Arizona, there used to be a lot of orange groves here, and in the summertime, spring and the summertime, the orange blossoms, the orange start to blossom, and there's such a distinct smell in the air. And when I think of the song Strange Love, which was the first single from Music for the Masses, it just immediately has this sensory overload, and I can see I just see myself clearly from that time period as a teenager. And yeah, it's just such a strange time of your life, teenage years, and music has such an intense power to associate memories with your sense of smell. And you can smell perfumes, and you can smell like orange blossoms, and you can smell all these different things, and it all just comes back to you when you play a song, and it's a powerful thing. So Strange Love, the first single off this, is the first track. I remember taping it off the radio. I had a great little cassette, a compilation of stuff that I made from that year, '87, and then into '88, and it just had some killer stuff. And so like the U2's Joshua Tree, this album starts off with just a power punch of just 3 songs. Never Let Me Down Again, phenomenal. Just starts off with that beat, kicks in, and it is just huge sounding. The things you said follows that one, and that's kind of comparable to like Joshua Trees. I still haven't found what I'm looking for. Sung by Martin Gore, who is the primary songwriter of Depeche Mode, and just a great song. And then that followed up with Strange Love, just a great song. As I discussed a little bit earlier, the album had 4 singles. It had Strange Love, Never Let Me Down Again, Behind the Wheel, and Little 15, which is also a great track. And what was I going to say about this? My favorite ones: Never Let Me Down Again, The Things You Said, Strange Love, Little 15, Behind the Wheels, another little creepy track on the album. And the artwork for the album has these speakers. I don't know if you can see it. That are all, and it carried through within the artwork on the sleeve, where you see, you know, like a nuclear power plant, and you see these speakers, or it's like a desert scene or some river, and then these speakers are there. So they took that concept of putting speakers in places where there's not even civilization, and has just this kind of weird, almost like a creepy effect. And with the title of the album, Music for the Masses, it's just a really, you know, probably a funny, bold statement, just saying this music's gonna reach everyone, everywhere, even when there's no people, even where there's no people, which is kind of a funny concept. Now, let me pull this out real quick here, because Depeche Mode did a massive tour for this album, and it was collected on an album called 101, and I'll actually show you. There's the Strange Love single with the speaker on it, but it was collected. Depeche Mode, like I said, massive tour. Band was huge, and I think they played, I don't know if it was like 60,000 people at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, California, and they played this massive tour. I didn't get to see them back then. I had just moved to Arizona, and I was a young teenager with no money, so unfortunately I wasn't able to see Depeche Mode back then. But this is a really cool album to track down. I got to see Depeche Mode in 1993, which was for the Songs of Faith and Devotion tour, and I even pulled out my ticket stub here. Apparently I had a complimentary ticket. I was on the special privilege for that. But even looking at this ticket, you know, and I have a very vivid memory of the show. And if you look at ticket prices back then, even in 1993, which is 20 years ago, that show was only $22.50, and The opened, and I think The's Dusk album just came out. And that was just a killer show. It was at the Memorial Coliseum in Phoenix, and I've seen a lot of shows there, like Morrissey. I saw the Pet Shop Boys there, and various other people. But they had these yellow cement barriers that it's like a donut, and there was like 3 of them on the floor in front of the stage, and the security guard would stand in the middle of them. And I remember my friend and I were at the show, and the whole time the crowd was just so intense that we were pushed against that yellow barrier. So the whole show, it was like we were standing on a 45-degree angle, because we were just crushed against there. I remember girls were fainting and passing out, and they'd be handed over into that little area. So it was an intense experience, and that was a great time to see Dave Gahaney at his long hair spinning the microphone stand like Mick Jagger. It was just quite a show. The album closes with this really dark chant-like instrument. I don't want to say it's an instrumental. It has this really dramatic music, almost like an operatic. It seems like it would be in like a really intense scene in the movie The Omen, and it's got these weird chant vocals in it, and that's how the album ends, and that's called Pimp, P-I-M-P-F. Just a really killer closing track. I also brought out a couple other things, and Martin Gore sings another song in this as well, I Want You Now. So I brought out a couple other little items here to show the little trilogy. So there's the vinyl, there's the cassette tape. The cassette tape was cool. I don't know if they were all like this, but mine has a whole side, the whole album's on side 1, and side 2 actually has some remixes, a track called Agent Orange, and some other tracks. Let me see my eyes. Please Little Treasure, Tavern to Hold, Aggro Mix of Never Let Me Down Again. So cool bonus tracks in there. And then I picked this up back, and I think these came out in 2006. This is the deluxe edition that was put out by, I think it was on Rhino, and they reissued all the Depeche Mode albums as a double set. And what was really cool about this is that the DVDs that came with it featured a documentary, some bonus tracks, but the documentaries are what I bought these for the documentary, because it's just great to see the bands talking about that time period, footage from the recording sessions, and I just love that kind of stuff. Being a musician, being in a band, touring, it's just really great to get that hands-on directly from the source of what was going on, and then, it has interviews with their manager and producers and stuff like that. So anyways, I think that closes it out, guys. Depeche Mode, Music for the Masses, 1987. Like I said, probably not my favorite Depeche Mode album. It is up there, but yeah, let me know what you guys think of Depeche Mode. Let me know what your favorite Depeche Mode album is, because I'll probably end up doing a ranking series and then reveal what my actual favorite one is. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Have a good weekend.